Monstercade.
We're like what I like about this episode is that we're actually going to this fly that I have here. I mean, I love this fly. I love this thing. So now I get to show the world this fly. I get to show the world my fly.
Hence the guest fluffer, Mike.
Canceled fluffer. Oh, that is not a fluffer I want to meet. I do not want to meet that fluffer. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Canceled. Where am I looking? Oh, I'm right here. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Canceled. I'm Carlos Bocanegra, and I have here with me Miss Nancy Monroe. I didn't let you say your own name.
It's quite all right.
But I will let one of our guests say their own name. Go ahead, please.
Mike Gibson.
Mr. Mike Gibson, thank you so much for being with us today.
No problem.
So Mike is really involved in all aspects, musical aspects of what's going on in North Carolina. He has an amazing blog, which he pushes a lot of really, really cool events. A lot of it's toward industrial dark wave and goth and type stuff. It's everything, right?
Yeah, it's all over the place. Anything, really, I guess, dark synth, goth, industrial, dark wave, synth wave.
All that stuff.
Yeah.
All that great stuff, yeah. So that's how Mike and I met through Monstercade and his wonderful wife Dottie, who actually they both met at Monstercade and they got married, which means all of you who come to Monstercade may find your soulmate. You may get married. That might be a thing. And actually, we wanted to have the wedding at Monstercade at one point or have the wedding party, but it was COVID, right?
Yeah. Well, obviously, this proves there's a chance.
There's a chance for everyone.
There's a chance for everyone if Mike can get married. Cheyenne is currently in Florida right now, which means Mr. Gibson will be here talking to the Veldt with us. So we get the legendary Veldt on via Zoom here in a few minutes.
So why are we interviewing the Veldt?
So the Veldt are actually going to be part of the North Carolina Psychedelia Festival, which is going to be held at Monstercade on the 28th of this month, along with Pretty Odd, Mystery Plan, Lazarus Pit, and Candy Coffins. We're really excited to have them. They're going to be vendors. There's actually going to be some food there. It's going to be amazing. We're doing it in conjunction with Southside Beer Garden, and it's going to be outside. Absolutely, it's going to definitely be outside. That's the thing I'm so sick of talking about the Delta variant. It's definitely something that we're having to live with right now, and we're having to figure that out. We still have not opened up the indoor stage at Monstercade, as everybody kind of knows. We are planning on having live shows again, but for right now, any live show that we have is going to be outdoors.
Did you get any grief after last episode about
For
asking
what?
people to get vaccine?
No, I didn't get any grief.
Okay.
But you did.
A little bit. And I don't want to double down, but I'm going to double down.
Good. Double down.
And just ask for the good of humanity to please get vaccinated.
And we even have masks. If you come to Monstercade, you need a mask, we got it. But we also have, we can give you one. But we also have our service window. So you can safely drink outdoors or hang out with your friends outdoors. But when you come indoors, we're expecting everybody and requesting everybody wear a mask. So that's the thing.
Love one another. Wear a mask.
Love one another and wear a mask.
I work on cars for a living, so when we're in the back, in our area, we don't have to wear a mask, but if we walk up front where customers are and whatever, we do have to wear a mask. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can imagine that they don't.
annoying.
Do they AC the garage
Oh, yeah.
for you guys? They
yeah,
do?
we have AC.
Excuse me.
No, well, he works on specialty cars. He doesn't just work on. He doesn't work on your Honda. What kind?
It's a car company that roughly sounds like a type of belly button.
What? Or I didn't think. I would say Volvo sounds more.
Not an any, but. Right.
I think that sounds like something else other than a naval. Volvo. Yeah, rhymes with Mulva. So
Right.
He does
naval
not,
and Volvo
He
and
doesn't work for Volvo.
you don't work for Volvo?
No.
Oh well, then I just
That's
thought.
why.
Hold on. There's what other
Not-
body part?
Okay, think of a navel, not an any, but an.
Audi. An Audi. Okay. I was thinking it's Volvo and Vulva. All right.
I did work for Volvo at one
Well, there
point,
you go.
yeah.
Boy, all body parts. You do all.
I'm making the rounds.
You work on all parts.
I got plenty of years left in me, so.
Ew. I was about to say that was a weird joke. Volvo and vulva. And I was like, that navel? Do you not know where these things go?
I just thought that was the first thing on your mind. And
Well.
Hey.
So also, cheers to Joanne Gear, who is setting all this up. She is our producer for today. Because yes,
Slow clap for Joanne.
Yes, and she's doing it from New Jersey. That's the wild thing. Our producer is currently in New Jersey. We're doing this from my house, and the Veldt are calling in from Chapel Hill. So this is a whole. We've done.
We
a
could
lot
be
of work
doing
here.
this from space.
We could doing this, and that's Joanne that you're hearing. The voice that you're hearing right now. Yes, thank you so much, Joanne. Thank you,
Joanne.
Yes, you've done a great job so far. No technical issues so far. So we're lucky enough to have the Veldt with us today, and Daniel Chavis is online right now. We're waiting for Danny. I don't know where Danny's at.
Forget about him.
Yeah, forget about him. We got the most important brother of the Chavis brothers.
You don't need him. You don't, brother.
Your brother's awesome. So
Forget about him.
well, thanks for coming on, Daniel. We're really excited about
No, we love you guys, and we're really fortunate to have something in the triad like Monstercade, because it's just like you were saying. It's not that like Winston-Salem is the middle of nowhere, because Winston-Salem has a really good musical history, and I think that by connecting the dots with us, Raleigh, and the surrounding triad, we can really create the awareness that this type of thing is needed, and people will come to us instead of us having to go to them all the time.
Absolutely, and that's what we're doing. I mean, it would be considered a niche market for Winston-Salem, but it's becoming less and less niche. There's a lot of people that are actually coming out and have expansive musical tastes that we can cater to. That isn't just Americana, acoustic, cover bands.
Agreed. No, I agree.
No,
I
totally
agree.
true. So we love having a home for you and having a home for the Veldt and artists like yourself, right? So we're always very happy to have you.
Amazing.
So,
and the thing about it is that we tell people about it wherever we go. It's like, listen, we've been blessed to have been able to go all around the world and play shows, and I come back to my little, minimum wage job and go play my gigs. And, that's the reality of me. But wherever I talk about places like you guys and bands like yours, Carlos, about, we got that in North Carolina.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it means a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And that's awesome that you guys are keeping the scene alive. Well, you guys are legendary. So for somebody who has never heard of the Veldt, how would you explain to them what your music sounds like? Because it is an amalgamation of that.
Well,
of a bunch
what
of
I
different
have
genres.
to do, I always have to go like, have you ever heard of this? Have you ever heard of them? Then they go, oh, we're kind of like that.
Yeah.
So this is what I always say. They go, what do you guys sound like? I said, well, have you ever heard of the Meet Jesus Mary Chain? They'll go, no. Have you ever heard of, and they'll go, have you ever heard of the Cocteau Twins? They'll go, no. And I'll go, Massive Attack. They go, no. And I go, well, how about this? We opened up for the Pixies. They go, yeah.
Well, there you go. Or you can just be like, have you heard of the Beatles? And be, yeah. Well, if you take acid.
But when we say the Pixies, not only does it date us, it gives them an idea, but we're not an R&B band. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, you have elements to it, though. You have elements to soul. You have, your music is really soulful, though. It's like a dream.
Well, that's worked against us because, I can't really, I don't really know any other way to sing or emote, but it just came out because, we always used to get in the beginning, oh, we love you guys, but it's really strange is that you don't sound black, and that's coming from black people. And then if they're white people, they go, well, it's a little bit too much mixed styles. But, if a white boy did it, they'd be geniuses. You know what I'm saying? So they pretty much expect us to, be what they think we are by the way we look.
Well, there's been several articles written about that very thing that you're talking about how shoegaze and dream pop was basically just a Caucasian creation, right? But there were a lot of people of color that were involved in it. A.R. Kane, you guys. And it's it's interesting because you open up the doors for like bands like TV on the Radio and these type of other bands that like kind of join that 4AD club of kind of psychedelic, dream poppy, shoegazy type music.
Well,
you were pioneers in that.
Well, back then it didn't have a name. They didn't call it shoegaze or whatever because, you know, when the term shoegaze came out, it was the summer of 88 or 88. And it was in the NME. And I remember being in my brother's backyard because we were living in Chapel Hill. And I go, damn, look at this. They got everybody. They got Moose. They got Slow Dive. Because, you know, Lincoln Fong was in Moose, right?
Yeah.
And he was Robin Guthrie's producer for pretty much every album after, I think, maybe Victorialand. And the guy that wrote the article was talking about looking at their shoes, you know, what kind of shoes did they wear, or they always look down.
Or their pedal board.
That article was it came out in the summertime. And then fast forward to 2003, 2004, we hear this like shoegaze term. I said, Danny, remember they're calling it shoegaze. And he goes, uh-huh. We're like, what?
That sounds like a Danny response too.
Well, yeah, the Danny response. We're like, well, I mean, we didn't know anything about it, but it became a thing, you know. So we just said, fuck it.
Yeah.
But like you said before, there were a lot of people, black people. Well, I can't take that back. There was a handful of us back then, like McAlmont and Dr. Fives in the House of Wax or Audio Web, but it was never accented that we were black. It was just we were just that. But we had a lot of a kickback that was underneath everything. So you found out that in indie circles, there was a lot of kind of racism or inclusivity that happened in those ranks, even when TV and the radio came along. You know, there were degrees of being black in the indie world. If you didn't act a certain way or whatever, or, you know, you didn't. Because, you know, me and Danny, we kind of, not ignorant, but we just don't give a fuck. You know, we on tour TV and the radio, and we just talk the way we talk. You know, fuck theirs, fuck them niggas, fuck that bullshit, man. Fuck you, but whatever. So we weren't really politically correct.
Yeah.
We're just being who we were. We didn't really go down with all this, you know, this color by number stuff. But, you know, a lot of the people that came up with, they were younger, they're millennials, and they don't necessarily have our baggage.
Yeah.
So I understood that.
And that's true. That's very true.
Daniel,
and that's kind of taken a good point from millennials, but at the same time, it was a kind of a deterrent to make them aware of remembering their history, because if they don't, you go back to where we were.
Daniel, when you toured with the Smithereens, I read that today, and I have seen the Smithereens one more than I would like to admit, because I grew up in New Jersey. I'm wondering if I saw you, if I saw you guys in one of those shows. But
Where'd you see it?
I saw them whenever you came through New Jersey. I'm sure I saw you.
Yeah, Pat Denuzio.
Yeah.
He was hilarious because it was the time when Snoop Dogg's first album came out, right? And they had a song, and we would always play it on stage. Something's wrong in the LBC. Talking about Snoop Double D-O-G. Y'all stop that, you know? and that's the time when we were traveling with them in the Deep South.
Oof.
And we were in Biloxi, Mississippi with the Smithereens. And we had rebel flags on our amps just to be assholes. And we did. And we were at this fair in Biloxi, Mississippi. I swear to God, opening for the Smithereens. And these guys walked up to us before we started playing. He goes, "Hey, man, what y'all doing with stars and bars on y'all's amps?" I said, "Well, didn't you know? We fought for the other side." But all jokes aside, we have family that fought for the Confederacy. You know, our family's very old, and I know my history. So they were like, we fucked them up.
Yeah, there's
you know, so you know, it had to be one of those shows because Pat Denuzio, God may rest in peace, was a really good guy. Yeah, you know.
So you know that they're coming to Winston-Salem. Smithereens are coming with, I think it's Marshall Crenshaw as their lead singer or something like that. They're coming.
Really?
Yeah, they're coming. They're coming.
End of September.
End of September, and downtown.
No fucking way.
Yeah, the Smithereens. You need to show up, man. Go and see those dudes.
Marshall Crenshaw, he was one of my influences when we were listening to KNC in Raleigh. KNC had this thing called New Wave Theater.
Yo.
And it was Marshall Crenshaw. They played Glass Moon, all the Raleigh staples that were around or people that were in that ilk at the time. It was called alternative back then, right?
It's so wild.
And I used to love Marshall Crenshaw. He was amazing.
Yeah, that's the thing. I just got into him just recently.
Great.
I heard Field Day, which is always in the used section of like any record shop that you go to. You see like a billion Field Days. Pick that record up. If you have not heard Field Day by Marshall Crenshaw, it's not even on CD. It's not on any Spotify or anything like that. You got to get that record.
But around that time when New Wave was kind of like a big thing,
yeah,
they lumped him into that whole thing, you know. And they play him all. Oh, turn it up! Or you go to your cassette player and push record.
to record off the radio.
Yeah. You know? So yeah, that's really good to hear.
Yeah, they'll be around.
Smithereens are still playing.
Yeah, I was surprised to see them playing too, but I guess Nancy's going to see them 101 times now. You should come out.
We're good to hear.
Yeah. So during the shoegaze and dream pop seems to be having a revival over the past few years. A lot of the younger generation, like you touched on, millennials, are actually discovering that, and a lot of these new bands are they're putting elements of shoegaze and dream pop in their bands, in their songs, which is really cool. Have you guys noticed your audience getting any younger, or any people that like are just there that just find out about you?
Well, there was some. We did our first kickoff at Local 506, right? Our most recent one.
Yeah.
And there were these kids there, man, and they had to be about 25, or my one was like 22, whatever. Like 5 of them, you know, all the LGBTQ kind of kids coming out, because you know, back in the day, you know, there wasn't any place for them. There will always be the kids you hang out with in the smoking court that wore black, or the metal dudes like, yo, Daniel, man, you don't party? I'm like, no, my mom won't let me. I did what I was told when I was young, so I didn't really do a lot of partying. Oh. And there were a lot of goths, and they were at our show, and I do find that a lot of kids are like, they don't know about us.
Yeah.
You know, and I love that, because you get to educate them, and you not to be so narrow-minded, because if you remember, a lot of those kids, there were like a lot of cliques back then. You know, if you didn't like that, because I was really ignorant too. If it wasn't punk, I didn't like it, or if it wasn't this, you didn't like it. But you've got to learn through it, ignorance. So a lot of the kids that are really young, I sit down, I talk to them, and tell them what I listen to, what we've done. So I do find a lot of them are kind of young.
Mm-hmm. So Mike and I were having a discussion when he first got here today about your name. And so he actually did some research on your name, and he had some questions about like that.
Yeah, sure.
How did you choose that? All right. So I saw the Veldt is the Southern Grasslands of Africa, and then also saw the short story by Ray Bradbury.
Well, even though I didn't do that great in school, I didn't pass like 10th grade or something, and I needed a summer school class to pass. It was English, and begrudgingly I went, and that morning I went to class. The teacher said, "Daniel, I need you to start to read the page for the class, please. Turn to page 108." And at the time, we were called the Psycho Daisies, off of a Yardbirds song, you know. Mm-hmm. And we had just did our first show with COC, Corrosion of Conformity, at the bottom of a church.
What?
So,
wait a minute.
Hold on. Corrosion of Conformity were doing something in the bottom of a church? In a church basement?
Yeah, they had a place called St. Joseph's in Durham. And Reed called my brother, goes, "Hey, man, you guys want to play a show?" And we was like, "Yeah, where is it?" He goes, "It's in Durham at St. Joseph's Church." I was like, "Okay, fine." It was us, Marginal Man, and Neon Christ.
Hold on. The church was defunct, right? It wasn't operational, or was the pastor just really cool?
Yeah, I mean, and we were called the Psycho Daisies. We had just left high school. I was 18, but before that, you know, I had to take the summer school class, but it didn't register me. So I went to the class. She goes, "Turn to page 8, or whatever it was," and I turned the page, and it said, "The Veldt," and I went, "Oh shit!" I mean, I said, "Danny, let's change the name right now." He goes, "Nah, we do it later." And then a couple of years later, we were called the Veldt. You know,
yeah,
we just kept my Psycho Daisies for a while. You know, because Prince had just come out with "Around the World in a Day." We had just lost it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we had just come from California, because before Reed gave us that show, I left high school to follow the Paisley Underground with the Bengals and the 3 o'clock. So okay, let me back up. I was in the 12th grade. I just left school. I remember throwing my gown in the sewer at Reynolds Coliseum. I said, fuck this place. I got on the bus with $100, and the night before I had seen the 3 o'clock on 120 Minutes, and then they played Raleigh at the brewery. Okay, It was fucking phenomenal. And as I was leaving the place, I had to walk home, and this van pulls up, and it was the 3 o'clock. I said, hey, they said, hey man, you want to ride? I said, yeah. I live in Southeast Raleigh, and you should just tell us where to go. And I said, and I was talking to them about how I was in high school and how they call me Michael Jackson and they call me faggot, white boy. And they goes, you should come to LA. And I thought to myself, okay.
Yeah.
I graduated. I didn't graduate. I just left. I got $100. I took a 12 bus from Raleigh to LA to follow the Paisley Underground. And I'll never forget it. I was wearing this jacket. I had drawn Paisley and flowers all on one. It was an army jacket. I drew Paisley and flowers all on it. And I had one suitcase and my guitar. And I told Danny I found a place to stay and he would come out. So I got there. I called Lou, who was a guitar player from 3 o'clock. I said, Lou, I'm in LA. He goes, what are you doing here? It's guitar player.
Didn't even remember.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
He didn't even remember?
Huh?
He didn't remember? Is that the one who invited you?
He didn't really invite me. I was just being a stupid kid, just going out there.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, fuck it. Oh, I'm going to make it happen. And he met me at the train station. He goes, well, I stay with my mom, so you really can't stay with me, right? So he put me in a youth hostel.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a couple $100. And I stayed there. And he goes, hey, my girlfriend wants to take us out tonight. I'm like, okay. It was Susanna Hoffs from the Bengals.
I was just about to ask you, did you meet Susanna Hoff? Because, I mean, you mentioned the Bengals a couple of times. And
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. They took me to the studio, Sunset Sound, because I had wrote them a letter to their fan club. And I sent them my demo. Wow. And they go, oh, our producer loves your voice. He said, you sound like Smokey Robinson. He goes, I think we'll call you Little Smokey. So I went to Sunset Sound. And they were working on Manic Monday, a remix Manic Monday.
Yeah.
And I met David Kahn, who was later to work with Fishbone. And I remember meeting them. And then we went out with Susanna. I met all the Bengals and her and one of the guitar player, her brother was in Red Cross. Mm-hmm. So we went to this party out in LA and it was at somebody's house and they were dressed in all their shit. You know how Red Cross was, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And they said, hey man, we heard about your band. I'm glad you're out in LA. I met all of them. And, but I was running out of money. And, I went through the trials, tribulations, trying to find a place to stay, blah, 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 and everything. Danny came out. It was a catastrophe. And my mom said, y'all need to come home. But before we left, Lou said, hey, man, you should meet these guys. Because we were standing in the garage, me and Danny. And we were pissing in a bucket, Well, so for some lady who took all our money, So, and and we were out on the street in front of a check cashing place. Uh-huh. So this rich dude came along. He goes, hey, man, because we had amps and guitars standing in front of some fucking check cashing place in the middle of LA. Mm-hmm. He goes, come on, man, y'all come home with me. And he lived way up in the Hollywood Hills. It was beautiful, in a mansion. I'll never forget it. And he arranged for us to stay in some garage, and this lady was nuts and everything. So me and Dan said, fuck, we're going to go home. So me and Danny went home, and we started the Veldt.
Dude,
before then, Lou went, you should meet these guys. You should meet them. I said, who are they? He goes, they're called Fishbone. I said, never heard of them.
Well, what did you know? Yeah.
But we decided to go home. Had we stayed, it would have been completely different.
Yeah. Oh, that's very true. That's an amazing story, of how everything came about.
And then we went back on tour as we progressed. And then we met Anton from the Brian Jonestown Massacre.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Anton was like, fuck it, I'll put you on. That's how it was. It was hilarious. Let me tell you something. They invited us to Europe, and they had us play at Levitation. And it was great. We would have never been able to get on if it wasn't for the Brian Jonestown Massacre.
Yeah. Dude, that's amazing.
Whereas before we got old and die and shit, you know, because that's how they do black people. You know, once you get ready to jump in a goddamn dirt bath, they go, "Oh, you were great" and whatever. Nah, fuck that. We're gonna keep going.
Yeah, and you guys have kept going. You guys haven't stopped.
Yeah.
I mean,
we
you
didn't
just
get
had
the memo to stop.
Well,
you know?
well, that's the thing is that you just came out with something on Record Store Day, and you were gonna. It benefited the Shalom Project. I know that because I got the record. Yeah, I've got
Shalom Project is a really good project to help the homeless. And what it is to tie into what we're doing with Monstercade for the North Carolina Festival of Psychedelia is that at this that's going to be our last show under that banner, and that's why the Monstercade show is really important.
Yeah, and again, this is something great. It's happening on August 28th, and it's not just the Veldt. The Veldt, of course, are closing out the show, but Pretty Odd, Mystery Plan, Candy Coffins, and Lazarus Pit. And a lot of those bands have played Monstercade before, so this is one of our very first all musical shows that we've had at Monstercade. We're not doing indoor shows, but this is, since it's a festival, it's outdoors. It's got vendors, we've got like food. It's an entire thing. We're keeping.
It's gonna be great.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome. And the ticket prices are just $5. We're keeping it really low so that everybody can come and spend their money on like all the vendors and stuff like that. Because you're gonna see really cool stuff. We haven't just got like somebody that's selling tomatoes. We have like vendors that are doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Well, actually, we're gonna have a Monstercade art.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have our own Monstercade booth. If like you've seen some things at Monstercade that you ever wanted to buy, and I'm tired of looking at it, we're gonna be selling it off. So yes, come out. We're keeping ticket prices low again. Then this is just so that like you can. It's kind of a thank you as well for everybody keeping up with Monstercade and sticking with us during this time and being really patient about us reopening indoors. Again, we just want to keep everybody safe, like me and you were talking about earlier. We just want to make sure that everybody is cool. And like as far as this fire stuff goes, it's real. It's totally real. So we're just doing it outdoors. And again, the ticket prices are super low, and you get to see the Veldt. How awesome is that?
But I'd like to say thank you so much. And even though this is going to be our last date as North Carolina Festival of Psychedelia, the next one we're going to do is called Noir Bazaar, which we're going to try to include Monstercade for our next endeavor, because we try to keep it going, connecting with your brother there. I didn't even know we had this going on. It's nice to make your acquaintance as well. And I want to say thank you as well, y'all, and thank you very much.
No, thank you. Daniel Chavis, everybody. Tell Danny we said hey too.
Yeah, tell Danny
and Micah.
We missed him.
And if we see Micah too, tell that fool I said hey.
And our show is going to be September 26th at the Visualite Theater, the 27th at Local 506, and the 28th are Coupe de Grace at Monstercade.
Sweet. There we go. Thank you so much. All right. We will see you soon. Thank you so much, guys, for hanging out.
Y'all.
And bye. Yeah, we'll talk soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much, Mike Gibson. Thank you to the Veldt, Daniel. And we will see you soon on the 28th of August for the North Carolina Psychedelia Festival. Take care, guys. Bye.
Well, since you're talking about flies, I used to do costuming, and people were talking about costuming like crazies, and about how Barry Manilow went off on somebody because they didn't stuff his pants right.
Oh, excuse me.